Good morning everyone. I'm Chandrakala. Today we will discuss last topic of our first section, that is energy. But before that we need to see some difference between work and power. We have already studied the concept, so we know the difference, but still just for one revision we will write some difference between work and power. While writing difference, it's best way to represent it in the form of a table during exams also. So first of all we will write a definition of work done and definition of power, and that we know. Work done. Work done by a force is the product of force and displacement in the direction of the force. That means angle between them should be 0 degree. Whereas power is the amount of work done per unit time. That is, rate of doing work is known as power. Second difference is it does not depend on time. That is, doesn't depend on time, whereas it depends on time. This difference you know very well, because about work done we have solved examples, and there we have seen that work done does not depend on time. How much work time is taken by the body, that does not affect the amount of work done, whereas power is inversely proportional to work done. That we know. That means power depends on time, but work done does not depend on time. And the third one is the SI unit of work done is joule, whereas SI unit of power is volt. So these are some difference between work done and power. Now we will start our last topic, that is energy. We know that if any body is doing work, that means it is having energy, because without having energy a body cannot do work. You just suppose one practical example. If you tell a person to clean a room who has not eaten food from last 5 days, the work done by him. Whereas same task if you will give to a person who had breakfast or food just before 1 hour, so which one can do it better? And even it's possible that the first person will not be able to clean the room. The reason is because his body is not having energy. That means for doing work, body must have energy, because it can do only that much amount of work how much energy it is having. That means actually the amount of energy is measured by the amount of work done by the body. If the body will have more energy, it can do more amount of work, and if the body will have less energy, it will be able to do small amount of work. That means our first point is work and energy are interrelated with each other. Okay, that means energy is only converted into work done. If the body will do energy, will do some work, then its energy will be converted into that work done. For example, if you had breakfast, that means at that time your body has gained some energy. So now you have energy. If you will clean the room, then that energy of food has been used in the cleaning, right? That means that energy has been converted into work done only. So for doing work, a body must have energy, and they both are interrelated with each other. Next point is when work is done by the body. When work is done by the body. And one more thing we will write, that is when work is done on the body. When work is done on the body. Okay, so when work is done by the body, this word is very important, and this word is also very important. When work is done by the body, then energy decreases. That means if the body is doing some work, then its energy will automatically decrease. If you had your breakfast and if you have started cleaning the room, then after cleaning, after 2, 4, 5 hours, you will feel tired and you will feel hungry again. What is the reason? Because the reason is the energy which was stored in your body due to that food or breakfast, that has been decreased because your body was doing work. That means if the body itself, it is doing some work, then its energy level will decrease. Similarly, if the work is done on the body, that means somebody is doing work on the body, then its energy will increase. While having breakfast, you were doing work on your body, means you were giving energy to it. That's why its energy level was increasing. That means when work is done on the body, then its energy increases, obviously, because it gains energy. And when the work is done by the body, then its energy decreases. If you will take, this is one practical example. If you will take one more example, you can take charging and discharging of cell. Okay. So in the case of discharging, that means initially, right now, the cell is having some amount of energy stored in it in the form of chemical energy. We know that cell stores energy in the form of chemical energy. So suppose there is a cell which has energy right now. Now it is discharging. That means any appliance or something you have connected to it. So it is discharging. So while discharging, it will change its chemical energy which it has stored, that energy, into electrical energy. Means because the device is working on it, that means it is using its energy. The work is done by the cell in this case, right? So what if you will continuously use this cell, after some time it won't be able to run the appliance. The reason is its energy will continuously decrease and finally it will become zero. Then what we will do? We will charge again. We will charge our cell or battery, and in that condition, what? It will take electrical energy and it will convert again it into chemical energy. That means here the work is done on the cell, because here we are giving electrical energy to cell and the cell is taking and storing it. That means here the energy is increasing. So after some time it gets fully charged. So that means we know that if the body, if the work is done by the body, that means if the body itself is doing work, then its energy will decrease. And if the work is done on the body, then its energy will increase. Okay, that means we know that work and energy are always interrelated with each other. Actually, work done is the amount of energy transferred. How much energy you will transfer, that much amount of work will be done. Okay, so this is the direct connection between work done and energy. Now we will see definition of energy. We know that energy of a body is its capacity to do work. So it is capacity of doing work, because we know that if the body will have more energy, then it can do more work, and if the body will have less energy, then it will be able to do less work only. That means the energy defines capacity of doing work. Now I have given one example to you and I told you to find its answer, and I know that you found answer and I know your answer also. That same thing. That means if a body is moving in a circular path, I have given question that electron is continuously moving in a circular path. It is having kinetic energy, obviously, because it is moving. So it is having kinetic energy. Then the electron is continuously doing work. So if electron is doing work, then its energy should decrease. And kinetic energy should decrease, and finally its speed should also decrease. Finally it should become zero, and then it should fall in the nucleus. But actually it does not happen. Why? Because we have studied that the centripetal force is always perpendicular to displacement. If a body is moving in the circular path, then it's a centripetal, or the force applied is always perpendicular, that is at 90 degree to the displacement. Because of that, cos 90 degree becomes 0, and hence the amount of work done becomes 0. And if the amount of work done is 0, then according to work energy theorem, its kinetic energy should remain constant and its speed should also remain constant. That's why without losing any energy and without any loss of speed, an electron continuously revolve around a nucleus. So I knew that this was your answer. That means if a body is moving in the circular path, there is no transfer of energy, because if there will be transfer of energy, then some amount of work will be done, because work done is directly associated with transfer of energy. That means if you have to do some work, then you have to transfer energy from one form to another. You can see any example. If some work is going on, then one form of energy must change into another form. That means the energy should transfer from one place to another place. Only in that condition the work will be done. So here, if the work done is 0, that means there is no transfer of energy. It is continuously moving with constant energy. Now we will see the SI unit of energy that we know. Since it is same as work done, so its SI unit will be joule and CGS unit will be erg, and we know relation between SI unit and CGS unit, that is 1 joule is equal to 10 raised to power 7 erg. This we have already seen in work done. In case of work done, we have seen some larger units, for example kilo, mega, giga. We discussed about that. Similarly for energy also we will discuss some bigger units, and first of them is watt hour. Okay, you see carefully, watt is the unit of power and hour is the unit of time. If we remember, the formula of power is equal to work done upon time. I am saying that work done and energy are same, because a body can do only that much work, how much energy it is having. That means work done and energy are same. So you can write it as E upon T. Now amount of energy is equal to power into time. That means if you are writing the unit as product of power and time, that means you are talking about energy, or in other words you are also talking about amount of work done. That means watt hour is the unit of energy. Watt is the unit of power and hour is the unit of time. So watt hour is the unit of energy. First of all, watt hour is the unit of energy. Second thing, what is watt hour? If we will define all the units, we have to define in the form of unity. Unity means 1. For example, 1 ohm or 1 volt or 1 joule or 1 Newton. All these physical units we are defining like that only. That means what is 1 watt? Actually, 1 watt hour is the energy spent by a source of power 1 watt in 1 hour. From here only we can write it, that if you want this 1, that means 1 watt hour is the amount of energy spent by a source of power 1 watt. Source of power 1 watt in 1 hour. That means if a source is there, if a device is there of power consuming 1 watt, if the power consumed by that device is 1 watt, so if a device of 1 watt power is continuously working for 1 hour, then how much energy it will consume? That is known as 1 watt hour only. So 1 watt hour is the amount of energy spent by a device or source of power 1 watt in 1 hour. It is known as 1 watt hour. From here, 1 watt hour is equal to 1 watt into 1 hour. Is it correct? Yes. We know that watt is the SI unit of power, which can also be used as joule per second. And 1 hour, we know that in all system of units we use, for time we use unit as second only, whereas it is hour. So we know that 1 hour, we will have to convert this hour into seconds. So we know that 1 hour has 3600 seconds. Since this is multiplication, so can you cancel this? That means that is equal to 3600 joule. That means 1 watt hour is equal to 3600 joule. This is relation. This is also the unit of energy only, and this is also the unit of energy. Okay, this is larger unit of energy. That means if a large amount of energy will be consumed, then we cannot write it in joule, because joule is a small unit and then the numerical number will be very large. So that's why we use watt hour. Now our next unit is kilowatt hour. Now since we have studied watt hour, so we can very clearly define kilowatt hour. Kilowatt is the unit of power, and hour is again the unit of time, and power into time is energy. That means this is also the unit of energy. So 1 kilowatt hour is the energy spent by a source of power 1 kilowatt in 1 hour. This time the power of the source is 1 kilowatt. The 1 kilowatt hour, we are defining 1 kilowatt hour. 1 kilowatt hour is the amount of energy spent by a source of power 1 kilowatt in 1 hour. So similarly we will define it. 1 kilowatt hour is equal to 1 kilowatt into 1 hour. Okay. Kilo means 10 raised to power 3. 10 raised to power 3 means 1000. Watt into 3600 seconds again. Can you write it in joule per second? Of course, joule per second into 3600 seconds. So cancel out, and now how much it is? 3600, 3 zeros. Okay, then answer will be in joule, or in other words you can write 3.6 into 10 raised to power 6 joule. This is equal to 1 kilowatt hour. So 1 kilowatt hour is equal to 3.6 into 10 raised to power 6 joule. This is the definition of kilowatt hour. Now see, both these units are important from exam point of view, but especially you see this term. This is very important from exam point of view as well as numericals. These both values we must learn, because we will need it in the numerical questions. So in numerical question we may have to convert watt hour into joule, as well as we may have to convert kilowatt hour into joule or joule into kilowatt hour. Okay, and for kilowatt hour many times its definition is asked. So we have to remember both the definitions and both the numerical relations. Okay, now we will see here. Before moving forward, we have 2 more units to discuss, but before that we need to discuss 2 things. See, watt and kilowatt. Watt hour and kilowatt hour. Here also, since we are studying science, that means we have to read question carefully before answering. See, watt and kilowatt are the units of power, whereas watt hour and kilowatt hour are the units of energy. So while reading question or while answering question, this is very important concept. We must not get confused here. Watt and kilowatt hour are the units of power, whereas watt hour and kilowatt hour, that means whenever you will multiply power by time, it will become unit of energy. Okay, now we will move to our third unit, that is calorie. Okay, basically calorie is used to measure heat energy. It is used to measure heat energy. Okay, see, energy is of many types. We have studied mechanical energy, that means the potential and kinetic energy, heat energy, chemical energy, solar energy, sound energy. That means there are a lot of energies. So different energies, according to our convenience, we use different units, but the basic unit is joule. Okay, and SI unit is also joule. So calorie is generally used for measuring the amount of heat energy. First of all, we have to see its definition of 1 calorie, because this is unit and unit is always defined in the form of the unity. So this is 1 calorie. What is 1 calorie? 1 calorie is the amount of heat energy required to raise the temperature of 1 gram water by 14.5 degree Celsius to 15.5 degree Celsius. Or you can write here from 14.5 degree Celsius to 15.5 degree Celsius. See, you can feel it somewhat weird because this is actually a topic from calorimetry and we will read it in detail in calorimetry. But here also, since the definition is given, 1 calorie is the amount of heat energy required to raise the temperature of 1 gram of water. Why 1 gram? Because we are defining here 1 calorie. So obviously 1 gram we have to take. 1 gram of water from 14.5 degree Celsius to 15.5 degree Celsius. Actually, we have to increase temperature only by 1 degree Celsius. But in case of water, we cannot write it directly here by 1 degree Celsius. The reason is anomalous expansion of water. Because we know that water does not show normal behavior of contraction and expansion between 0 degree Celsius to 4 degree Celsius. This we know. And 1 degree exists between 0 and 4 degree only. That means here we cannot write by 1 degree Celsius. We have taken one range of temperature where its expansion and compression is almost uniform. That is 14.5 degree Celsius to 15.5 degree Celsius. And next thing, why water only? Because water is the only liquid whose density is 1 gram per centimeter cube. That means in CGS its density is 1. Hence this density will not affect the value of mass or volume or any other quantity. That means force also. That means because of that this value 1 we are taking here water. That means 1 calorie is the amount of heat energy required to raise temperature of 1 gram of water from 14.5 degree Celsius to 15.5 degree Celsius. Once again I am repeating, 1 calorie. Calorie is the unit of energy and it is specially used to calculate the amount of or measure the amount of heat energy, and its definition is if we will increase the temperature of 1 gram of water by 1 degree Celsius, then how much heat energy we require, and that heat energy is known as 1 calorie. But here we directly cannot write 1 degree Celsius. We cannot write down to increase the temperature by 1 degree Celsius because between 0 to 4 degree Celsius water shows anomalous expansion. That means their expansion and compression of volume are not uniform. So we cannot take any 1 degree Celsius. So we have taken one standard value of temperature where its expansion and compression is almost uniform. So we have taken here this temperature. If we want to increase temperature from 14.5 to 15.5, that is by 1 degree Celsius for 1 gram of water, then the amount of heat energy required will be 1 calorie. And this will become more clear when we will study about the calorie in calorimetry. Okay. Here also we have one relation between calorie and joule, that is 1 calorie is equal to 4.18 joule, or in other words 1 joule is equal to 0.24 calorie. If you will remember one of these, then it will be sufficient. We can calculate the second one because in physics we have a lot of numerical values which we have to remember. So we will try to reduce its number as much as possible. That means if we can work only with one concept, because if you know that 1 calorie is equal to 4.18 joule, then you can calculate 1 joule is equal to how many calorie. So whatever you feel easy, that one thing out of two you can remember. Now we will see the fourth unit of the energy, and that one is electron volt. That is electron. This is also the unit of energy only. Okay, especially the small amount of energy is measured in electron volt. For example, for atoms or for molecules, for electrons or protons. That means small amount of energy is measured in electron volt. Here also it has definition, which is again very important. So here also if we have to define electron volt, we will define 1 electron volt. That means 1 electron volt is the amount of energy gained by 1 electron. This time electron is gaining energy. Energy gained by electron if it is accelerated by 1 volt. This we have studied current electricity and static electricity. That means you know what is this volt. This is potential, actually potential difference. That means 1 electron volt is the amount of energy gained by an electron if it is accelerated by a potential of 1 volt. That means if its acceleration is 1 volt, that means the electron is having 1 volt of energy. So this is the definition, and obviously then we will have to find out the numerical value, and that is 1 electron volt. That is charge on 1 electron and into 1 volt, that is 1 volt. Okay, and charge on 1 electron we know 1.6 into 10 raised to power minus 19 coulomb, and this is 1 volt as it is. That means it is 1.6 into 10 raised to power minus 19 joule. So 1 electron volt is equal to 1.6 into 10 raised to power minus 19 joule. This is the definition of electron volt. See, whatever given in the book, that everything is important, but still some questions are very frequently repeats in exam. And we have studied 4 units. Out of 4 units of energy, 2 are very important. One is kilowatt hour and one is electron volt. Many times directly its definition is asked. And obviously if you will write a definition, you will have to remember this value too. That means 1 electron volt is the amount of energy gained by an electron if it is accelerated by a potential difference of 1 volt. That is known as 1 electron volt energy. Now we will see some difference between energy and power, and it is same as work and power because energy is work only. Same thing. First thing we will write will be definition of energy. We know that. Similarly we will write definition of power also. That means for energy, energy is the capacity of doing work, and power is rate of doing work. This is capacity to do work and this is rate of doing work. That means work divided by time. That is known as power. Second, same point, it doesn't depend on time because this is work done only, na? Doesn't depend on time, whereas it depends on time because in formula it has time. So it depends on time. And third one, same, SI unit is joule, and here SI unit is volt. So these are the 3 differences, and same differences we have studied in work and power also. So these are some differences. Now we have completed the first section. From next class onwards we will start second section.